have with us Mr. Ravi Uppal, MD and CEO L&T Power. Very good evening and welcome to Win-Win Power News.
Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to ask you what opportunities you see for power plant equipment manufacturers in India.
I think the prospects for the power plant in India are simply huge. As you know from the government's plans which are recently announced, country would be adding something like about 78,000 megawatt during the 11th plan and almost 105,000 megawatt in the plan, which is in the 12th plan, which will start from 2012. But this kind of additional power generation capacity has never been witnessed before. So this is a huge opportunity for all the power plant equipment suppliers in India.
With respect to China, India's capacity addition plan and target has been very little. China, which is almost the same demographic size as India, has an installed capacity of around 8 lakh megawatt, which is almost 4 times greater than us, while we still struggle to achieve 60 to 70% of our target. According to you, what could be the major reason for not being able to achieve the target as per our 5-year plans?
Well, in India, the ambition in terms of power addition capacity in each of the plans to start itself was very modest. We set up a target like achieving anywhere between 30 to 40,000 megawatts in all the plans up to the 9th plan. And then the actual rate that we achieved was always 50% what we targeted. So I think there were multiple factors which are responsible for that. Some of them was relating to various inputs, which are required for setting up power plants. They took much longer than one had estimated, things like availability of land, water, the coal linkage, etc. And the second one was that there was just one company which was to supply all the power generation equipment in the past. So this whole paradigm is undergoing a shift now. We have multiple manufacturers which are coming, in addition to the one which has already been there. And we also have imports coming from China to the Indian markets. So all total, the supply situation in terms of the power generation equipment has changed quite dramatically now.
But this supply from China is posing another threat. Like last year, 40% of the total order amounting up to 21,000 megawatt has been ordered, has been awarded to Chinese companies. So do you agree with the fact that this could pose a major threat to the domestic manufacturers?
Yes, I think our concern with regard to such huge imports from China is a very valid concern. India, as we ramp up our capacity, it is natural that most of it should come from the domestic suppliers. Let me tell you that as of now, the Indian market is the second largest market in the world after China. If we are going to add something like 25 to 28,000 megawatt year after year for the next 25 years, there's no reason that we should continue to depend on imports. I think we need to build our own robust base for delivery of the power generating equipment, and the government, I think, should really back up this effort. The good news is that a lot of companies have now come forward to set up this kind of capacity in the Indian market, and it's not very long in future that this capacity will be there. And if you ask us, Larsen & Toubro was the first company after BHEL which took this initiative already 3 years ago. And today our factories are absolutely ready, ready to roll out the products, and we will be already this year supplying the turbine generators and boilers manufactured in our factories in India. So that's a great news. And I'm absolutely certain that if all the plans which are being talked about for setting up the domestic industry, we would be in a position to supply as much as 25 to 27,000 megawatt kind of capacity every year from the domestic manufacturers.
But if we talk about a present scenario, I mean, again, coming to another issue of Chinese equipment manufacturing, Chinese government provides incentives and rebates to the extent of 14% to its manufacturers for export. And not only that, when these power equipments are imported to India, they do not suffer any kind of custom duty. On the other hand, Indian manufactured equipment, they suffer taxes, they suffer duties to the extent of nearly 6% of equipment cost. In such a scenario, how would an Indian manufacturer get a level playing field to compete with foreign manufacturers?
Well, that has been our concern all the time. And this is why we have been making requests to the government of India to create a level playing field. What you said, you described it so well, that how we are disadvantaged in terms of selling our equipment in our own market. It's not a level playing field. First of all, the Chinese have state regulated currency, And that itself puts us to a disadvantage to the tune of 30%. Today, United States and the other countries are really battling it out with China with regard to the currency regulation vis-a-vis dollars and other currencies. I think that's a very sort of valid point being taken up by them. And the second is that the Chinese, when they come into this market, for mega projects, there's virtually no duty on them, whereas we being domestic manufacturers, we continue to suffer from incidents of a lot of local taxes, input taxes, octroi, and a whole lot of other taxes, which have put us to further disadvantage. That we are not afraid of competition. We are not afraid of competition from domestic, suppliers or from imports. I think this is healthy. But I think at the same time, government must make sure that the Indian manufacturers who are putting huge amount of investment to set up a local base, they are not disadvantaged. Yeah.
Coming to supercritical project, recently Ministry of Power has formulated a policy to allow only companies with indigenous manufacturing capacities to supply equipment for upcoming power projects, especially supercritical power projects. So how appropriate this step of the government is according to you, and do you feel that this move could give a thrust to our domestic manufacturing capability?
Well, this step by measure has been announced recently that for the purpose of UMPPs, the equipment should be of local origin. But the point remains that the next few UMPPs which are coming, this condition has been relaxed. Why is this being relaxed? Because even if you take today, BHL and L&T put together, we are in a position to deliver something like 15 to 17,000 megawatt of equipment. So there's abundant capacity in the local market, and the UMPPs for which the deliveries will be made in 4 to 5 years from now, by then even more capacity would have come up. So I see no reason why for any of the UMPP which has to come up in future that you should give any kind of relaxation in terms of sourcing from imported sources. I think it should be made strictly domestic with immediate effect. That is our very fervent request to the government of India. We are in a position to deliver it, and we have all the capability which are required to finish the projects. And I must point out that all the new the companies which are coming up in India, they have a tie-up with the global giants in terms of technology and execution capability for making the deliveries of equipment in Indian market. So nobody needs to sort of harbor any kind of anxiety whether the new manufacturers will be able to do it or not, because they're all tied up with the global majors.
Mr. Uppal, we'll quickly take a short break here.